What up? Welcome to the Creators Podcast for the UFL. Yes, it is still technically April. We've been a little delayed. That's my fault. But it is the April 2025 edition of the Creators Podcast, along with CJ Zilligan. I'm Cameron Irvine. CJ, it's been a long April. How you been?
I'm good, man. It has been a long April. We are still technically in April. Excited to be here, man.
Absolutely, and it's just great to see that 7 on the board, that week 7. That means that we're almost to the halfway point. Somehow we have made it here to the halfway point, and I think we've had a lot of fun, CJ. We've had a lot of fun. I think this is working out, and I know that when we first got together on this stuff over a year ago, you couldn't have known what was going to come out of all this, and now here we are, we're right in the thick of a really, really exciting and competitive season.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. You're definitely right on the week 7. Holy cow, man. We're plowing through. There's so much that has been happening, and it's can't believe it. Still can't believe it.
Yeah, we want to give a shout out to some new faces around here. We have hit the 200 threshold, 201 players claimed in the UFL, and so we're so appreciative to everyone that is taking the jump on us and taking a leap of faith and seeing what it's all about and really just giving us a chance. This is the first time that we've had a new product on this channel in a really long time, and it's hard to start something new. And I think CJ and I both appreciate your patience because we have a lot to get to. We have a lot going on. We're doing our best. We'll get to some survey results a little bit later in the show and let everybody know kind of what the customer feedback has been by and large. But, it's great to try. And we're out here trying, CJ. And certainly, in the moments where it's stressful and where we're burnt out, there's still plenty of moments where we're having a ton of fun, like last night.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, let's backtrack a little bit. Like 200 players, 210? Is that what you said? 201?
201, yeah.
201. That is, Cam, if you told me in the beginning we would have 201 players, I wouldn't believe you. This whole thing, honestly, like, I can't thank everyone enough for the interest and the being a participant in this wild corner of the internet. Super grateful. This is super exciting. We're in week 7. Those games last night, like, that's what keeps that fire burning. That was unbelievable.
And we'll get to the unbelievable here in just a moment. But I do want to shout out some of the new players because we do have a lot of new players that have joined the league, and we're certainly happy to see them here. Some players have not even made their debuts yet. Jimmy Lorenzo, for example, the new running back in Motor City. Andy Sands over in Phoenix will make his debut tomorrow. He is another star receiver for Phoenix that's getting some more players. Trevor Neville, the new wide receiver in New Orleans. Have yet to see him hit the field. And last night we saw the debut of guys like P.J. Slaughter and Jordan Herrera in El Paso, and immediately made an impact. Jordan Herrera, 3 catches on the opening drive. He was everywhere, and I thought, man, this guy's awesome. And what's funny, CJ, about that is that last week the player that Herrera claimed had 1 catch for 6 yards. And then this week he had 3 on the opening drive, and El Paso scored a touchdown, got their first win of the season. I am enjoying seeing teams improve and get better, and that's what's happening across the UFL. And so no matter what team you join, there's opportunity for growth. And, we can't wait to see those new faces out there for the first time, and it's so much fun to see people start their new careers.
Yeah, it's such a morale shift, too, when you see some players join these teams that are, we're almost halfway through the season, but that have not had much success, and then immediately turn it around. Like, what's a bigger boost than that? You have an immediate impact as soon as you hit the field. I think that's the sim gods just righting the wrongs of what has happened so far.
Yeah, and it's nice to see there were some players who in the offseason chose teams that really didn't get a whole lot of love. And as the season has gone on, they're just, it's kind of quiet. I mean, we've got 32 teams. We've got a lot of player spots to fill. And then all of a sudden, right, you get that new teammate, and it's that breath of fresh air. It reinvigorates just the whole operation. And we got to start somewhere. Most people don't remember the beginning. They just remember the now. And a lot of people are, right in the thick of this of like, we've got 2 players and 3 players and 4 players. And slowly but surely it'll fill up, and you won't even remember a time when you didn't have anybody to talk to in a locker room.
Yeah, and when the season's all, when we close the book on the season, what a story it's going to be, right? Uh, there's been so much of this change since week 4, week 2, beginning of the season. Like there's so much that still has yet to unfold. I know it's so cliche, but I can't think of other words to describe what has gone on so far. It's been amazing to see.
Now we can force feed you highlights and put a bunch of stuff up on the screen. But if we've already done it, you just need to go there. If you're not subscribed to our Instagram already, please do so. And CJ's been working on highlights up on Instagram, and the last couple of plays that we've seen that have really caught our attention really do feel unbelievable. Think back to how many years if you're a Madden player. Or if you're just a Madden watcher, how many times have you seen a Hail Mary attempt? And this is what I've wondered. I've always said to myself, this is just a car crash. I mean, none of this looks
Yeah.
this is so pointless. Why is everybody so bunched together? Why isn't anybody spread out? I mean, this is ridiculous. How would this ever work? I've never seen it before. And then last night, Denver with 1 second left is just the play before. CJ, their quarterback, Nate Hall, he tried to get something quick down the field to give them a better shot at, getting to the end zone. And it was incomplete, but there's 1 second left, right? If he would have thrown the Hail Mary on that first play, he wouldn't, that game would have been over, right? The ball would have just held up too long. But he tried to get that something quick that left him a second. The next time he just says, okay, whatever, right? Throws it as far as he can. And the receiver, still unclaimed, Durham, makes this unbelievable catch. The ball just flew over everybody's head, and he literally went untouched into the end zone. You got to go to Instagram and see the highlight if you haven't seen it yet. But I still cannot believe that happened. And then Vegas ends up winning the game in overtime, and Denver couldn't even get the win, and we're still trying to get Denver their first win since week 1. But, I mean, I know that you've seen a lot of Madden, too, in your day. I can count on one hand, at least, any time I've ever seen that work.
I've never seen that. And even with the improvements that you've made with some of the gameplay like that, I think that the maneuvering of all of those situations has made something like this possible. So I'm surprised even though we've laid the groundwork to make this like this could happen, right? This is like the type of situational gameplay like this could happen. But still, like I was telling you, I was about to leave the house. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out really quick, and then like let's see what happens with these last few plays. Like you never know what's gonna happen. And then lo and behold, you're screaming on my phone, just blaring out this. I'm like, what are the chances that this would happen? And then lo and behold, the heartbreak, and I mean it's those types of plays that you start pulling for, like, okay, Denver, come on, like let's make this like a storybook game here. And I mean, even without the win, that was still an incredible play. And then the kick catch. I mean, I think Madden is known, almost infamously for its glitches, and that was just like one of the. It's like, how does this even happen? But it was so cool to see, and even like your reaction, like that was just. It's super cool.
It's one of those
Super
things
cool
where
to see.
you're watching the games, right? There's 3 games going on at once, and it's one of those out of the corner of your eye things. And
Yeah.
you see kind of where the player is positioned on the field, and you're trying to follow along with the action. And sometimes you kind of notice a ball maybe being a little overthrown. And you really don't need to say anything about it. I mean, it's not going to be complete. And that was one of those plays where just out of the corner of my eye, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, oh, the ball never met his hands. You know, it was short or inaccurate or whatever. And then you notice the little yard line marker change on the score bug.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, wait, how did he catch that? Did he they're ruling that a catch? How are they ruling that a catch? And then we were blessed with a pretty great angle of it hitting his foot and it coming up and catch it. Now, I will say, I'm not sure he got 2 feet in bounds. I think the refs kind of gave him a pass and said, look, that was the most amazing catch. We're not even going to review it, but
I'll stop you here. I wanted to confirm this. So I took the clip that you sent me, dragged it into After Effects, and went frame by frame to see if he caught it. And when he made contact with the ball, when his right foot, I think it was his right foot was down, he made contact with the ball, immediately turned and stepped out of bounds. So it looks like he only had 1 in, but he did have 2. I can confirm it.
That's fun. That's fun. And that's also on our Instagram too, is the Motor City Miracle. I don't know what we want to call it, but it was and I've seen that. There was a time way a long time ago in the SFL where we did have the guy actually caught it off his foot for a touchdown. So it's not like I've never seen it before, but I've been doing this for a really long time. I've never seen it in Madden, and that was obviously a first for the UFL through all of our I include all of our testing in these conversations and then the actual season as well, because we ran so many games and so many tests and watched so many things. Even after I had made some adjustments to some things, I would say, okay, CJ, here's the updates, go run some games and see what we can get out of it. But yes, those are the type of plays that make memories, and I think it's awesome that we've seen 2 in such short succession. And honestly, CJ, it really is teaching people that you can't look away. I mean, even last night's San Diego Los Angeles game, it's 17-0, and basically the chat is declaring the game over as we enter the fourth quarter, and Los Angeles tied that game up at 17 in the fourth quarter. You can't look away.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, Cam, I watched that game, the end of that game, in the car, and I don't recommend it. That was you literally couldn't look away, especially when it got down to the wire. Yeah, what a game that was. That was thought that was going the other way for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, it was great. All right, so let's shift to Green Gridiron. This is our first time that we have talked here on the Creators Podcast since Green Gridiron dropped. First, I want to get your just initial impressions of the feedback that has been given to you, just online, seeing the product, seeing the viewership, seeing the comments. What has that been like to watch other people experience, your brands coming to life?
Such a loaded question. I think obviously like everyone has loved it. And that's a testament to how like their craftsmanship is second to none. These guys know details like no other. Like I'll show you here in a second. They nailed it, right? But I think, secondarily the concept of like taking these teams that don't exist, right? Have been in my head for so long, and just bringing them to life, like the dedication or the hard-headedness to follow through with that, like I think was very interesting for people to see. And then the third thing is that everyone wants one, and that's logistically that's a very difficult thing to figure out. But
we really don't want to tell you the price of what the
that's right. But that's I mean that's cream of the crop. That's they're the best of the best. So that's kind of what we strive for. Obviously, we want to do things right the first time, and just set the bar high. Right. I think if we were to if I were to invest in something like this, I wouldn't want to get the second best option. I just want to obviously the people too, with Green Gridiron, like they are like us. I'll say that much. They are very much into the sport and into all facets of the game. I think two of the guys who are probably around our age had fictional leagues growing up, and one still does.
No,
He
really?
keeps track of it. Yeah, he keeps track of his like individual players and in these draft classes in Madden, and I think that's what was really special to collaborate with them is that these people, they're like us and they celebrate these things, and it's unlike something that they've ever seen, they've ever been able to come across, and they were super enthusiastic and um, super excited to continue working with them. We've got 28 other helmets to go, and yeah, these guys are awesome.
To anyone watching this channel, it's important to know and understand that we're not just the only people out here, that would like this, that would enjoy this. It's just about reaching them, and you and I have talked about some different strategies we'll take in the future to try to reach these people. But we all grew up and got out of that phase, but it's all still in us, and we just have to we have to find where everybody went. You know what I mean? Like even as kids, we weren't necessarily together, but there was more of us doing it. But then as everybody got older, everybody spreads out and gets different jobs and does different things, and so it's they leave it in the past, and it's very hard to find those people. So we just appreciate everybody that is here with us now, and hopefully we'll be able to introduce this product to many more people in the future. We just got to put our brains together of how that comes to be. So I think that's amazing that Green Gridiron has somebody that is also still kind of doing their own fictional league kind of stuff, and probably finds what you are doing to just be the cool. You're probably like, he probably got your autograph, like, dude, you're actually doing this. Like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, to be real, I mean, I don't find myself to be someone special. I'm hopefully like going to great lengths to, I guess keep the dream alive for other people, whether that's their own thing, like just keep that
Right.
imagination going. Because I think that's, when you lose that, you grow up, and we don't want to grow up, right? We're here having fun.
So you have it. You have the helmets in your studio. Um,
Yeah.
and I think
Which team
that's
you want to see?
uh, I've gotten the most comments on San Diego. So I want to,
You like San Diego?
yeah, I want to see what the baby blue looks like in
Yeah.
person.
They when I'm talking about attention to detail, like look at these stripes. These were like hand laid,
Yeah,
hand cut. I mean,
and you're
everything
not
about this is just killer.
a big, like, a lot of your helmets don't have stripes, and so you're really
Right.
intentional
Yeah.
about which teams have stripes and which teams may not. San Diego's stripe pattern very unique in that way.
Yeah. For the longest time, this team too had a navy blue lid, and I think we've got a couple teams in this league that had one. And Anna Whitman was like, "This team screams '90s. Like, let's go with
Mm-hmm.
the lighter blue." I mean, I'm so glad I did. It turned out like this is just so cool. This is, several of them told me that this is their favorite helmet. I was like,
Well, wait until they see the other 28, right? And that's what I keep telling people. Like, it's just four. You don't like, yeah,
yeah,
you can like one that's your favorite in this four, but you're probably going to get the next four that are all different colors too. And you're just going to go, I don't know if that's my favorite anymore.
hmm yeah, yeah. I mean, different finishes too. Like these are all pretty standard finishes, but some are like more matte, like Dakota.
Yeah,
We got so
right.
many more to go.
Sp-
I wanted to show you something on Charlotte really quick.
yeah.
So if you watch the Royals play in the game, they have like a flaky gold helmet. And the way we built the file was that this all is one texture, but this is an alpha channel, so it's transparent. So in the game, this isn't a flat gold. This is actually the color of the helmet shining
Mm.
through. And I don't know if you can catch it on this, but they replicated that.
I
You
can
see
see
how it's
that.
knocked out?
Wow, yeah.
I mean, these guys are nuts. They crushed it.
Which makes it a much harder decal to do, right? Because of the empty space and the thin line, right?
So when I set it up, all I had to do was set it up as saying no ink. So
Mm.
I changed the color to a color that obviously like shouldn't be printed, and then called it out as like no ink. So it's just clear. So everything around it is ink, and that one's not. So um, yeah, I mean they you guys are the real deal. I'm telling you.
What doesn't Phoenix have the shine in it as well? The sort of
Yep, same thing.
yeah, you can see it right there.
And let me see if I can get
I've also gotten a
with this
lot of
one. They
comments on New York. It's just the toughness. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
and then
oh
I
you could
wanted to.
really see it there.
They have like a yellow flake, and my camera's or my
No, no,
flashlight's
that's
too strong.
perfect.
But
I can see it big time. So can everyone
I
else.
mean, this is like a. I mean, I don't have any more words to describe it, but I mean they blew me away. I mean, I just insane.
Do you?
Like
I.
like a paint job in a car.
What did you say about your car?
Is that it's like a paint job on a car,
Oh
like the
right,
level of
yeah,
detail.
yeah. And then you got New York that's just tough, and that's what everyone
Yeah.
said. And I actually I talked to my uncle, and he's like, you know how many people in New York City would like buy that helmet because it's just so much better than the Jets or the Giants or whatever. And I said, yeah, but
Yeah.
we got to find them. No,
Yeah.
and it kind of brought to light a thought that I had, CJ. I mean, when I think of professional sports and you got all these leagues starting up and all that stuff, I mean, you think there's any chance anyone ever calls you up and says, we want that brand for our team?
Damn, everyone's got a price.
And they're gonna say, but you can't use them on that VFN channel anymore. So you got to call that guy and tell him that it's over. And
Well,
honestly, I think that'd be one of the most amazing things to happen to this channel. So
hey, you know what? It'll pay both of our mortgages. It'll be fine.
yeah, yeah, no, it's incredible. I can't wait for the next batch. I'm sure people are wondering when the next batch is going to be. We obviously don't want to speak for Green Gridiron as to when they're going to have the next batch finished, but they do have all of your product to get started, right?
Yeah, I mean, and also these guys are dealing with like the local teams, the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers. So I'm so far down the totem pole right now, so that like, hey, you guys do what you need to do. If I were to guess, probably the next 4 or 5 weeks or so, but
Yeah. And we don't know.
it'll be
You don't
fun.
know yet which teams those might be, right? They're just gonna. Are they just going?
I know.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I have an idea.
Okay. All
I
right.
know.
So you're not gonna give a little hint to the people. You're gonna make them sweat it out.
Um, it'll be a surprise.
Okay.
Eight teams.
I love torture, so I'm sure that'll. I instantly regret that. That'll be clipped as a meme
Yeah, it'll be clipped.
for people to use
That's going
against
on
me.
Instagram.
All right. So
Highlights channel.
that's Green Gridiron behind us. Oh, one more question I did have for you is people may not know how cool their place is. And you've talked about it a little bit with
Oh
me
my
before,
gosh.
but I've heard stories about how amazing their facility is.
Yeah, so like they have a giant warehouse where they have tons of shells. They have like 8 or 12 ovens where they like refinish the face masks in-house, like insane. And then they have like their office, which is like there's helmets all over the place. So you walk down one aisle or one hallway, helmets. They're like custom, like NFL teams, like the Baby Blue or Love You Blue Titans, like stuff like that all over. And then they have like their like exactly what you see on their Instagram page or their YouTube channel. That set that I took a photo by, like they rotate the helmets every other day. Like they have so much there that it's like it's hard to pay attention to anything they say because it's like visual stimulation.
I didn't.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't
It's really
realize that.
cool.
So they actually rotate the helmets and change them out all the time for different
Yeah.
videos. Did they make a second one of the UFL ones? Like, do they have one to interchange, or did they just make the one, for you?
No, we just have the four helmets here, but
Yeah,
we are getting a UFL helmet made. So I don't know when that's going to be, but
yeah,
they'll be made.
that's awesome. Okay, all right, let's move on to the survey results. We had a little over 70 participants. We really appreciate everybody's feedback. We're 7 weeks into the season. Of course, we started in mid-February, so technically we're like 10 weeks into the season. But things move a little slow, and that's one of the biggest comments that our customer base had is, man, it's a tough wait. It's a long wait, and we had some extra buys in there, and I don't think that we realized maybe how important it was to have, if teams play at the beginning of a week, they really should play at the beginning of the next week too, since the week is so extended. And so, some teams have had some long waits to play from one game to the next, and I think going into 2026, I have some ideas, as to how it goes, but it is a lot. 32 teams playing a 16-game season is not easy, and I think everybody realizes that. But it doesn't change the fact that they'd love for things to be a little bit tighter, and I'm sure you would as well, CJ, because sometimes it really can feel like a long time since we last got to enjoy some UFL football.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to, see more gameplay, and if this was on like the cadence of a real NFL schedule, that would be like about expectations. But I mean, we are two people, and then I mean we have like the broadcasters and everything, but it's there's a lot going on. I think yeah, I would like personally, selfishly, I would love more time so I could just generate more content and
Yeah, yeah.
see all
The,
the highlights of these individual teams, but
we
it's
haven't we haven't discussed this idea one-on-one, so we get to discuss it live with people. But
yeah,
it was an
that's my
idea I
answer.
had because a lot of our work and effort is to make teams better when they lose, and
Yeah.
that takes a lot of work. In other, I'll take the SFL for example, just because that's another league that airs on this channel. But every team has their own staff, but all teams have us as a staff, and so it's a grind to go through and give attention to every team possible. But at the same time, it's very important to our product because we want your experience to be the same or similar no matter what team you go to, so that it can feel like a cohesive league. So one of the ideas I thought of, if people are looking for more games, and leave notes down in the comments section about what you might think of this, is what if we actually played games in sort of 2 or 3 or 4 game chunks where there wasn't necessarily any adjustments, but you're playing a lot of different opponents. So maybe against one opponent, your weakness isn't really an issue, but then the next opponent, right, that you start to see a weakness, and you essentially get a collection of games ahead of the next adjustments, ahead of the next progressions, ahead of the next, and essentially we could show up and make it like an NFL where it's not just 3 games going at once. We could have 8 or 9 games going at once and be following along with all the action, and because at that point it's just games. And the league is able to churn out more games at a quicker pace because it's not necessarily being slowed down by tinkering after each and every win or loss. Now, teams might appreciate the fact that they can make adjustments quicker, but at the same time, we could make more impactful adjustments if we had more data, and we're able to see, over the body of work, what exactly were the fundamental problems of what was going on in these organizations. these are the things that keep me up at night and that I think about. But just off the cuff, how does that play to you, CJ?
It sounds definitely interesting. I'm thinking from like a branding standpoint and trying to like market that and chunk that out. I think it would be good like to have so much more I guess content of the game for viewers, for players. Um, to play devil's advocate, you will have less time to make adjustments. So I guess it's like a give and take.
Yeah, right,
We,
right,
we aren't like a full staff here. Like we can't um, crank these out as fast as we would like to. Um, so I understand the logistics of the making adjustments really slows things down. But again, it is that input that players like to have to feel like they're making an impact, like they're in the driver's seat. And obviously, like from a league standpoint, our goal is to make sure every game is competitive. We don't want
right.
to have outliers of 0-5 and 5-0 teams too often. We would like to keep everything feeling competitive and feeling like everyone has a chance, right? I think that's kind of the main goal. And I feel like if we can still maintain that, then I say we give it a shot, but we'll leave it up to the people.
Sure. I mean, obviously, it's a difficult problem to solve because a lot of times people just say, well, you just need another you. Well, it's a full-time job, and
Yeah,
we can't just we would not expect, nor would we take advantage of someone saying, "Oh, I'll just do that for no money." They would quickly realize, I probably should get paid for this because
yeah.
it's a lot of work to put out a professional product, and we just can't snap our fingers and expand staff and all that. We're a new company, right? We're a new we're just getting started here, and so we're trying to do as much as we can with what we have, right? And that's not an excuse. It's just the reality, and we're always gonna. That's what the Creators Podcast is all about. We try to give you the behind the scenes of how we're trying to do things and how we're trying to take people's feedback and say, okay, listen, some of these things we just cannot simply do because of logistics, but can we tweak something that would be more compelling to the viewer, right? If at the end of the day the games are what matter, then let's make sure that we have as many games as we possibly can. If it's making those adjustments and being engaged and being heard and being, if that's what's important, then we want to make sure that that's happening too. So it's a lot of checks and balances. But the great thing, if you're a UFL player right now, or if you're a UFL player in the future, thinking about becoming one, the most important thing is that we're listening to you, and that we're trying to make the best product that in your image, and in CJ's image, right, with all of the branding and the uniforms and all that stuff. And you've got a lot of fans, CJ, because that part of that survey was everyone just talking about how great everybody looks, and everybody wants to see more, and that's the greatest compliment, right? Like they want to see a green Minnesota helmet. I'm looking at the gold one on the screen right now. They want to see a blackout when they don't have a blackout, or they want to see a throwback uniform, or they want to all these type of things, because these brands are so well executed just at the beginning. So that was kind of that was my takeaway from the survey. I shared a lot of results with you. Did you have any particular takeaways or any just thoughts about how you've seen things transpire in locker rooms and in our community and with the games?
Yeah, a lot of positive feedback, which again we greatly appreciate. But also, like, there's tons of room for growth, and we understand this is year one. Um, and that's not to say that we feel like we've done a really good job in putting out a product to the best of our abilities. And we're just again we're just getting started. And that that also goes with the branding standpoint. Like this was to get this season started. This is what I put together, but I mean, we've got season 2, 3, 4 plus like all planned out, and you guys will not be disappointed.
Well, we are looking forward to all of that. I am looking forward to all of that. I can't wait to see I can't wait to see where this goes, and I can't wait to see which players emerge as some of the biggest stars in league history, and they will certainly be remembered for all of their accomplishments and achievements. One of the guys I think of is Joe Tillo in Phoenix. Phoenix is on paper, he is the worst starting quarterback in the league on paper. But Phoenix works so well together, and another guy that was just claimed, Skylar Vivase, who I've just been talking about constantly on highlights. He just got claimed. By the way, shout out to Mateus Sansbino. I love Skylar Vivase as a name, but Sansbino is about as awesome as you can get. Besides, you know what I mean? Like, that's just a great name replacement. But all of Joe Tillo's weapons are performing, and Phoenix has been a huge surprise. And that leads us to the standings too. Just talking about the standings, Phoenix has been a team of mine that I can't believe how good they're playing. They have been so outstanding, and they don't necessarily look it on paper. And coming into the season, we talked about Phoenix as a team that basically had a bunch of wide receivers at the end of their career just being like, hey, feed us the ball or else, right? And a quarterback situation that was not that great, and a defense that really wasn't talked about. Phoenix has been awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I got a story about Phoenix and Joe Tillo, and you can cut this out if you want to or whatever. But so Joe Tillo is Joey Santillo. Like, this guy, high school track teammate. Been kind of we've been friends and Instagram followers of each other for the past 10 years. This dude has taken the Phoenix Skyhawks and brought it, like, he is the brand ambassador. Like, he's an art teacher right now. And shout out to you, Joey Santillo. Correct me if I'm wrong, man, but he's got students and he shows the game to his students, and his students catch up with the game every week. And he's got his brothers joining the Skyhawks and everything. He's Mr. Skyhawk. Like, shout out to you, Joey. That's a super cool story.
What did he think of the helmet? Since that was one of the teams.
He loves it. I mean, he loves the helmet. I think, well, I remember when I was releasing the teams, he said this one is his favorite team. So lo and behold, like, of course he's going to join the Skyhawks and be the quarterback. And man, like, on paper, like you said, they may not look like much, but they're winning. They're doing incredible. It's I don't know, man. It's super cool.
Well, they have Austin this week coming up tomorrow or tonight or whenever you're listening to this podcast. And, Austin's no joke. They pushed Dakota to the limit in a shootout game. And we've been working hard on defensive adjustments for them because they've got the worst scoring defense in the league right now. And it's really holding them back. But just like we saw with El Paso this past week, you can turn things around pretty quickly. And a couple of weeks ago, El Paso was one of those teams where we totally transformed their defense. Looking at their personnel and looking at what they've got in the playbook, it's like, look, we're a team full of, like, smaller players, defensive back players. That's where all our talent is. And we're really not playing that way. We need to start playing that way. And so they went small, essentially. El Paso playing small ball on defense, and it's working. They were excellent against Houston. So, Austin's, that's going to be a really exciting game on game night, Austin and Phoenix, even though the records are total opposite. What team do you want to talk about at the top or bottom of the standings?
Oh my gosh. I really enjoyed watching San Diego. I mean, they really don't put up numbers, but somehow they win. I don't understand that. Like, at the end of the game, when they have those the players walking past the 3D scoreboards or whatever, all of the highlighted numbers are on the losing team because I don't know how San Diego wins it. It's I mean, they've been fun to watch just because, like, they somehow pull it off, and that's been cool. But also, I'll say Vegas too. Vegas has been really cool. Their quarterback, what's his name? Kearns?
Frank Stearns, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Frank Stearns, yeah. Shout out Frank Stearns, who's been tearing it up since he joined. That I mean, it's those teams like complete opposite ends of the spectrum. San Diego puts up no numbers, Vegas puts up tons of numbers, but they're both equally exciting to watch. Those two have kind of jumped off the page to me.
So Stearns' son actually claimed Braylon Battle and did not rename him. He's like, I'm cool.
I'm
And so
keeping them.
yeah, so Braylon Battle is his, is his player too. So it's a father and son enjoying a good catch right out there
That's
on the
cool.
professional field. Yeah, it's great.
So that's the second father-son duo in the league, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look back at 201
Tyler
players.
Falk and
Say again.
we got the Chippers with the Falks, right?
That's it. Yep. Yeah. Doug and Tyler Falk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Father son duo at quarterback and wide receiver. Yeah. So Minnesota, and I think Minnesota and Vegas already played, which is crazy. I think it was before Battle
Yeah,
got
that game.
claimed. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
10 sack game.
How about just on Vegas a little bit? They lead the league in sacks, which is insane because they have 31 sacks. And then they played Denver, who has given up the most sacks in the league, and they played last night and Vegas had no sacks. It's
It,
like, how does that
Cam,
happen?
like you can't. I don't understand this. Like you know, all if we were betting guys, then we, bet the house on that play. But like it never happened. Like they put up no sack. Like I can't believe that they didn't follow through with their tendencies of the entire season. It's ridiculous.
Now, but at the same time, Denver executed a drop on some of the defensive front from Vegas, and that could have had an impact on the game as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's the strategy. But and some people don't like drops. They told us in the survey, and I respect that. You're not trying to be malicious. You don't want to see attributes dropped, and we'll see. We'll see what we do with that at the end of the season. But
yeah.
they certainly have been impactful in some ways this season for sure. Yeah, so we talked Phoenix is 4-1. If you're following along, UFL.football, just go to standings as we kind of talk. Denver is fallen to 1-6. El Paso got their first win. We've talked Austin, they're 1-4, but a really good 1-4. Chicago's 1-4. All four of their losses are by one score, 7 points or less. So they are a much better team.
Sounds like the Bears.
Sounds like the Bears. No comment. We don't need to get into all that. But Cincinnati and Dallas undefeated.
What a game.
Yeah, and they play coming up, and that's going to be incredible if they're both undefeated at that point. But I don't think I don't think if I would have told you, CJ, there's two undefeated teams in Week 7, it's Cincinnati and Dallas, would you have believed me?
No, I don't know how Cincinnati keeps winning. I mean,
They have been very fortunate.
they have been very fortunate, Cam. So Dallas, on the other hand, has been like they're a tough team to play. Cincinnati just pulls it out. That game, obviously against Los Angeles, was improbable, and they won that one. The Portland game, they won that one. They could be what 4-2,
Yeah.
3-3 maybe. Like but that's the nature of the game. That's the nature of the sport. That's why we watch it.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Week 7 rolls on Thursday and then returns next Monday right here on VFN. Let's talk some design a little bit. You've had some projects working. I think, was it about week 3? You basically came to me and you were like, Cam, we got to do more on Instagram. Like we gotta get our social game going. And I'm like, CJ, I'm exhausted. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm exhausted, but I don't know what to do. I just don't have the time. And you basically took up the mantle and you're like, I got you. And we have seen such great engagement. Talk to the people about what you've been doing. And on top of that, how we got screwed by a dimension change. Then we had to go through and we had to change all of our templates. It's like, come on, Instagram, you're killing us right now.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like to be real, I wanted to take some off your plate, right? Because you've got so much going on. I was like, just give it to me. Like let me take care of it, right? Um, and from a social standpoint, like when we watch the NFL, when we watch the NBA, MLB, whatever, there's the games that are on TV, but the experience doesn't end there. Like most of us will tune in to see what are they talking about? What are the talking heads saying? What's the social aspect of the events that previously occurred? And I'm trying to generate that to help with the immersion of the brand in the league. So I'm looking at like what the NFL is doing. Okay, like they're sharing obviously the schedule and everything, but if there's a David versus a Goliath headline, like let's share that. Let's celebrate that, and make that a focus point for the week. Or if there's a crazy play that happened, right? Let's highlight that. Let's give this player their flowers. Let's put them on a pedestal and say, hey, they showed up, right? Um, and I think that kind of engagement, and obviously the metrics are one thing, but trying to create that level of immersion for people to say like, oh, I can't wait to see that play that I made last week show up on the highlights page. Like that's what we're trying to accomplish. Um, and I think we're doing a good job. I mean, we've got, you know, a lot churning out, gained like 100 followers or so since the last time since I took over. But I think what's exciting for us, for our metrics, is like the amount of eyes was like 50,000 people a month just from Instagram alone have been have their eyes in the UFL. And if they follow along, that's great. If they don't, we still put the product in front of them, and they're going to remember because of how consistent we're trying to be. Um, and that's kind of like what we're really trying to do. The template thing, like we built 1080 by 1080 templates, and Instagram changed it by a couple hundred pixels, and yes, we had to redo them all. But that's the nature of the beast. Like it's all good.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
still here. We're still fighting the good fight.
Yeah. We are incredibly thankful to our friends at Green Gridiron. Last I checked, 21,000 views on the YouTube broadcast, which was great.
Yeah.
We've had over 5,000 views on a couple of their reels. The posts that you made in collaboration with them on Zilligan Design Studio had nearly 1,500 likes. And our highlights are generating thousands of views, consistently between 2,000 and 3,000. Ethan Flowers, the magician, just got over 3,000 recently. And I'm looking right now, CJ, 882 views on the Hail Mary highlight, and you posted that just before we started recording this show 48 minutes ago. These are the things that we're trying to do, and if you're not following us on Instagram, please do so, because CJ's working really hard on a lot of content and a lot of immersion. And I wanted to address something specific. And again, this is a behind the scenes show, and these are the conversations that we have that you might not know we're having, right? As a customer out there. So we're getting ready for games, and I look at a poll from a losing team as to what decision they made and what they wanted to do, and that was Montana. And I said, listen, we just had a quarterback back out. Our quarterback situation has been extremely volatile. Would you be interested in trading for a starting quarterback? And they actually voted that way. Like, yeah, sure. Like, let's get somebody else better in. Let's not spend a week's worth of progression boosting our quarterback. Let's just go get somebody, right? Because we need help. And I looked through all the rosters to find them their best available player, their best option, their youngest prospect, their most talented prospect, all that good stuff. And it's some backup in Portland. And that's the team they play that night. And so I called CJ up and I said, CJ, you're never going to believe this. Montana is about to trade for Portland's backup quarterback, and then they're going to go to Portland and play them tonight. And CJ's response is, you have any photos of that? I want to get a graphic up on social media. And I said, CJ, these two players are unclaimed. They're not real people. We don't really have to do that. And CJ, in his infinite wisdom of expectation, which I love, and why he's such a great business partner, says, yeah, but it's a great story. And I said, okay, I'll go get some photos. So he goes and gets the photos. We have no template for this. We're trying to get it up before the game starts. And he comes up with this, beautiful template that, says trade, and it's on our Instagram page. And he brought the story to life. Then, to make the story even more wild, a couple days later, a person claims this new starting quarterback for Montana and doesn't even change the name. He said, Blake Green, that's my guy. I'm there. And so now Blake Green is claimed by a real person, and all the quarterback spots have been refilled. That day was so wild, but CJ's efforts and desire to immerse you in the UFL world, even on social media, is sensational. And you deserve a lot of flowers for that here on this show. I'm going to give them to you because I love what you've been able to do, and I know that you work really hard too. But that was a fun day, wasn't it? I mean, it's not. Yeah, that was one of the craziest storylines, and it was a primetime game too.
Yeah, and when you called me up and told me that, I was like, okay, like let's I'll shelve what I'm doing right now. Let's get this thing out there and figure it out. And I think I always look at it from the lens of like, if I'm a player, I want to know what's happening, right? So if I'm, we've got a primetime game tonight, let me jump on social and see what's going on. Oh, there's a trade. Like, if I didn't know that, then I'd feel like left in the dark. So I want to make sure that like we sensationalize everything so that people know what's going on, like as if this were the NFL or some other league. Just want to like keep the immersion alive, keep the dream going. If there's another trade, then we'll do the same thing. Like that's part of the whole, the whole thing.
And it got a lot of engagement. And one user asked, do the players vote for the trades in a similar fashion to the supermajority of the FCF fans in 21 and 22? And that was fan controlled football was when when that was happening back then. And I said precisely, right? And so it's good. It helps us educate the audience a little bit too about how these things are happening. And that was a really fun day. Anything else design related that you wanted to kind of go through, and some things you've been working on or you're proud of, or anything like that?
I mean, let's keep it with the UFL. I think you're talking about behind the scenes with the trades. What's also funny is like the highlights. Because I'll be watching the games live, or you'll shoot me a Discord note and be like, hey, I'm going to clip this for you. I tune in. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, or I'll shoot you a note and be like, hey, send me that clip of this game. And then I, scramble to get it up, and you'll send me a screenshot. And sometimes we don't have a screenshot because that time has passed. And I comb through each frame of the video and see if I can get something and clean it up enough to make it presentable. But that's the kind of back and forth that happens with these things. And honestly, like from a social perspective, let us know what you want to see. I think we're trying to keep it as diversified as possible to make sure that everyone gets some sort of celebration at some point. But then again, like if there's a play that needs to be sensationalized, we're going to jump on that and make sure everyone sees it and make it exciting. But I think, let us know what you want to see, and we'll add that into the mix.
You also made a recent post on your studio page on the work that you had done with the UFL brand, not Skycam, the Pylon Cam. All those things, and people may not realize, like when they look at that Pylon Cam in the game, like the logo, that was not the default thing, right? Like that was a unique custom logo made by yourself, and obviously you did a lot of the VFN branding as well, which really came together nicely. And that was all part of our partnership and leading up to this, right? We need a channel rebrand, we need the UFL brand as well, and I couldn't be more happy with how it turned out for both of us, and even the patches on the field, the inaugural season patches and all that stuff. And once we get into the playoffs and all that, I mean, it's going to be amazing. But as always, my friend, great work. And it was cool to
Yeah,
see.
you too.
It was cool to see that posted. And I was actually speaking with my parents who were in town last night, trying to like get them to understand. Like he has this like draw pad, and it's like all blue, and I'm like, how does this all come together? It's got all the squiggly lines everywhere and all this, and then it's like slimmed down, and then the colors are put in, and it's incredible how it comes together. And most people don't even realize good branding. They just come to expect it, right? And if they show up on our podcast and they see all the logos and they see the league brand and they say, hey, this looks pretty clean, well, that's because a lot of work went into it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a saying when it comes to designs, like you don't notice good design, and that's how you know it's good. But you notice bad design, right? So if you see a billboard and like, what happened? Like, what's that? Or if something looks noticeably out of place and or unprofessional, it's like you don't hire that person, or you don't, you don't either like follow through with that, or whatever. Like you notice it, and it's like it's not good. So we try and achieve that level of detail, and especially with like the pylon cam was one thing. I think that we got that done like a couple days before launch. We're like, hey, we gotta you know push this level of immersion, and then VFN. Obviously, we need to have like a cohesive identity for all things sim football that we have going on, and um, yeah, I mean these were just necessary things that had to be done, and yeah, happy to be a part of it again.
All right, let's move to the last little bit of our show. Let's talk some gameplay. I've got it on the screen here, BTS behind the scenes, but the T is in parentheses because sometimes it's just BS. Period.
Yeah.
It's just really frustrating, and you know that the bane of my existence right now is something that happened what seems like forever ago, that when the team is trailing by 3 points or less, and depending upon their timeouts and depending upon how much time is left, when do you kick the field goal? When do you try to run more time off the clock so that the other team doesn't get the ball back? What kind of plays are you calling in those moments? It has been the most frustrating part of this process in trying to get great AI gameplay out of our league, and we're still trying to find the right way. But I'm happy to say that watching that San Diego game last night, that was perfect, right? It was a tie game, and look, when you see something perfect like that, that means you can replicate it in a different situation, right? The game was tied. San Diego needed a field goal to win the game. It was clear that there was no reason to go for a touchdown. They were on the fringe of field goal range. You don't want to throw it to the end zone and potentially throw a terrible interception and ruin your chances. And so San Diego, with one timeout left, just runs and says, look, as long as we get 3, 4, 5 yards here, we're going to get into better field position to kick that game-winning field goal and win the game. They got about 5. They got a nice run. They called the timeout with 5 seconds left. They kicked the field goal, and they won the game. And that's what we want to see. And that does not come naturally to sports games. So, that's the bad side of it. That's the BS side of it. But we have seen so many close games in the UFL, and the competition has been excellent. I have been quite pleased with everything. We have not had a game day where more than half the games ended by in a result separated by more than one score. We've not had that since March 11th. So since March 11th, every time we're on the air, at least half of our games are down to the wire. When you look at the NFL and how many games are decided by one score, there's no other league that can touch them. I think it's something like 72% of games decided by one score. I mean, it's an incredible product, and that's why it does so well in the ratings and why it's so successful. We're trying to get to the point where our league is like that too, where every team is hyper competitive, and and everybody has a chance every game. Nobody likes seeing blowouts, and nobody likes getting blown out.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do is just make each game competitive, give everyone a chance. Um, it's not like we're pulling for one team over the other. I mean, we want to see everybody have equal amounts of success. Yeah, it seems to me like the whole behind the scenes tweaks that you've been making, it has felt like whack-a-mole. But when it executes correctly, it's extremely satisfying. And then you'll call me and tell me about like, hey, I figured it out. I figured it out. And then, hopefully not 2 weeks from now or whatever, you're gonna call me again, like it's not working again.
It's a painful process, but it is very rewarding when it goes right.
Yeah.
And I remember a moment specifically where it worked for the first time, right? Way back when we were starting to do this. And it was just when that happened, that first opportunity happened to change something and make it for the better. I knew that this had the chances to be something really special. And nothing is ever perfect, but we are, we're always striving for it, and it will never be perfect because some people would choose to do something different in a situation. We were actually just talking with a member of Denver who, after the Hail Mary, they were down by 1 with no time on the clock, and he said, why didn't we go for 2 to win the game? Because we had all the momentum, and they were stunned. They were shocked. And I thought, that's a really interesting point. I'd never really thought about that coming up in a game of like, hey, we should just go win this thing. And so I had to tell him it depends on if that line of code applies to all 2-point situations or if it applies to all fourth quarter situations, because you don't want to go for the lead with 8 minutes to go when you have a chance to tie the game. I mean, you could totally put yourself out of it, and it might not even matter that you take the lead. So you wouldn't want to do it then. So if there's something specific that we can adjust to make it to where a more aggressive coach might go for the win, right, in that situation, that would be really interesting. But that's why it's never, you can never build a perfect system because there's always going to be something different, a difference of opinion. And I find that really engaging and really honest with all of our players and all of our customers, because it's really great to hear their perspective about like what they would want to see in a particular moment.
And also, like everyone's learning. I think everyone is learning more about what goes into the game, and that's super exciting. I think the 2 point conversion aspect, like that could work in that situation, but if that code is linked to something else, then you could be throwing something else out of whack, right? It's that give and take, that balance that, if they went for 2 and made it, like that would have been fantastic. And then the following week, maybe someone goes for 2 unnecessarily and throws they're playing by a couple points behind the rest of the game. But that's like the human element of
Mm-hmm.
the sport, the game, and
Yeah.
the league.
It's what makes this sport so beautiful. All right, let's wrap things up. We're just a little over an hour. We try to keep this down to an hour. What's coming up next? We've got some great games on the schedule. Some really high octane, powerful, interesting matchups. Although I must say, CJ, there are some teams that are creeping up the standings that we haven't really thought about as big time contender. Albuquerque's 4-3. Vegas is 4-2. They're up pretty high. St. Louis is 4-1.
St. Louis.
These are teams that are not getting a lot of shine and a lot of conversation, but they really are towards the top of the standing. So, what are you most looking forward to coming up on the field and off the field in the UFL as we continue on here in May?
Finishing up apparel. I think we're getting close on that. That's a whole other conversation, but slowly but surely, chunking away at that. And that I think from a gameplay perspective, I think some of these games are super exciting. One that's been marked on my calendar is the one on the 21st, Cincinnati at Dallas. And if they're both undefeated at that point, that's going to be another huge, exciting matchup to watch. But again, like, I mean, the Denver Vegas game, like I'm on paper, that doesn't look like an exciting matchup, but it was exciting. And so, it really just depends on like what It's not the answer you want, but like what depends. And when it comes to the gameplay and hopefully it's just a close match and some stars shine.
I think about Dallas and St. Louis, and I think about this rematch because here in the UFL you play divisional opponents twice, and right now these two
Mhm.
teams are fighting at the top of the Central with Wichita right behind them, and it's in St. Louis's house, and they have not lost there, and it was documented, before the season started. It's one of the toughest places to play, along with Salt Lake. Dallas is rolling in there undefeated. This is going to be a big time matchup, and that's coming up in early May. The exact date is I scrolled away from
Cinco de
it.
Mayo.
What'd you say?
Cinco de Mayo, the 5th.
Yeah, May 5th. So that's just coming up in less than a week. So that'll be really interesting to see. What those teams do and the rematch and how different the matchup is from game one to game two, because neither one of them has lost since they last played. So it should be a relatively similar performance, but you just never know.
Yep. So if St. Louis wins that game and then wins at Cincinnati, and then Wichita wins at Salt Lake, then you could have a three-way tie for first,
And poor
or
Tennessee.
three teams with one loss.
Poor Tennessee having to be the fourth wheel of what's going on
Yeah.
there in the Central. And they've been.
Still got 9 games.
Say again?
Still got 9 games.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of people are used to the 12-game schedule on this channel. 16-game schedule. No one's out of it right now. Even Florida, 0-5. You can
Yeah.
come back from that, right? You can turn that around,
Yeah.
especially in an Atlantic division that Miami just doesn't seem to want to take a hold of, leading that at 3-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on the Virtual Football Network and here in the UFL. Any last words, CJ?
No, stay tuned for more. We'll be sure to update everybody with the Green Gridiron stuff. Lots more content rolling out, and yeah, we'll keep the train going.
I promise the apparel will be sweet. It'll be worth the wait. Thanks, everybody, for your patience.
Yes, thank you.
Man, 32 team shops all at once. It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I mean, 32 different locker rooms of this stuff, and not the tangent, but the customizable aspect of the jerseys is what takes so long because they need every single asset to be able to, have it made to order. So, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
They are literal replicas. I've seen the mock-ups. They're down to the striping on the shoulder, right? It's awesome. All right, more to come here in the UFL. This has been April 2025's edition of the Creators Podcast. We'll see you sometime later in the month of May, and by then we'll be in about week 9 or so, about the halfway point in the season, and who knows what all will have happened and changed in the next few weeks, but we're here to talk about it with you all. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and have a good night.
Thanks for being a fan.